Ba-da-ba-da-dum-bum-ba-dum. Ba-dum-bum-ba. Ba-da-da-da-da-bum-ba-dum. When we met, always knew I would get some money from you. You're on my mind constantly. In the stories where we should be. Mm. I want you here by me, baby, to go on a shopping spree. I want you in my life for all time. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Caught up in the rapture of you. The money will always do. What I feel is shopping from you. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-woo-ba. Hey, everybody. Hello, everybody. And this is Auntie, and we are doing our Monday marathon. If this is your first time here, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And to all of my new subscribers, thank you so much for being part of the family. And to all of my nieces and nephews, thank you for always being here with your auntie. I want to say a special shout out to Hijabi, Hijbi, Hijabiboriqua from Dubai. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Freckles. This is a little new thing that I'm trying, you know what I'm saying? Little hat, little something, something. I actually got a lot of my hair cut off on Sunday, no, Saturday. And so I'm just trying to get used to the look. So I've been wearing hats. Oh my God, Miranda 01A says, hi from Romania. Well, hello, hello, Nas Farah. Our auntie from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Oh my goodness, you all are from all over the place. Thank you all so much for being here with me. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button when you come into the room. When you come into the room, hit that thumbs up button so that I know that you're here, and so does YouTube. Now, yes, I am live, Gracie Carpenter. She said, oh my God, I just randomly clicked and didn't think it was live. I am live in living color. Okay. So look, none of my moderators are here yet. I did not have an opportunity to tell them that I was out here. So if you all see any trolls, do what you got to do. Click them, delete them, get my attention some kind of way. And we're going to go ahead on and move on. So as you can tell from the title, I am going to be talking about why I am Team Anfisa. And I know a lot of people don't have positive things to say, excuse me, about my girl Anfisa, but I absolutely do. Let me just start off with the history of George and Anfisa. When we first met George, he was boasting and bragging about how he saw this Russian woman online. George went on to say that she was his absolute dream girl, and he just knew that he had to have her. Um, and so he knew, you know, basically before Anfisa got here that she was number one, high maintenance. Number two, he knew before she got here that she was, you know, one of those video type girls, quote unquote, allegedly. And so basically, this is a man who absolutely knew what he was getting into when he saw Anfisa online. But in George's words, I had to have her. She was my dream girl. And any of us know that anytime we want something that is our dream, there comes a lot of hard work. Um, hard work is going to come with that. And so George reached out to Anfisa and promised Anfisa the world. He told Anfisa that she would come here and live the life of a glam goddess, that he would be able to maintain her status. And guess what? Anfisa came over here with that in mind. So we get introduced. He says that he went over there with her. He was this marijuana grower or whatever, And, I guess the little bit of duckies that he was making at the time, he absolutely thought that he was living the life and that he could possibly afford her. I believe that George was pompous and arrogant and thought because Anfisa was Russian that he would get over here and she would just be grateful to be in the country. And, he just was going to have her as his sex toy and just kind of use her any way that he wanted to. Well, Anfisa came over here and had her own mind, had her own agenda. George had promised Anfisa a lot of things. And, when you are purchasing something or believe you're purchasing something, you believe that you have owner's right to it. But one thing that you cannot do in this 2018 is purchase people. Now you can rent people, you can hire people, you can have someone to come over and babysit like Louise, and you can do all that stuff, but you absolutely cannot own another person. You can't make them be something that they are not. And Fiza, I'm afraid, showed George a very good time. She alleges that he was her first, and she came to America to be with him. Upon her arrival, this George guy, I guess life started getting really hard for him. Maybe his marijuana business was not booming like it was, but he brought her over here on false pretense. And from that alone, I am team Anfisa. But, some things that played out later on helped, helped me realize that I had made the right decision in being a team Anfisa. And so we go on. I don't know if you all remember when Anfisa was here. George was sitting out on the patio and he indicated that he had severed his relationships with his family to be with Anfisa and he felt lonely. Bitch, did nobody tell you to sever your relationship with Anfisa? But this was something that he decided he wanted to do. And Anfisa didn't ask him. I never heard her ask him. She alleged that she was going over to the mom's house and that basically, thank you, Sarah, for coming. I'm sorry I didn't notify you. um she said that she was going over to the mom's house. She was trying to have a relationship with the mom and the sister, and it just wasn't working out. And it wasn't working out because George, um unbeknownst to Anfisa, was talking about her behind her back, and he wasn't being the man that he could have and should have been, because number one, he found out very quickly that Anfisa was going to hold his feet to the fire. You don't promise someone, tell someone that you are a millionaire, a billionaire, or whatever the hell he told Anfisa, and that you're going to have this rich, luxurious life, and then snatch it from underneath them, and they find out that they are basically one paycheck away from homelessness. In addition to that, we found out that George had some things, some blemishes on his record, and wasn't even able to buy an apartment. Remember when George introduced us, to Anfisa and they were looking for a home? Number one, he came up there, I believe it was either in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. And here it is, you're picking this girl up from Russia. She's moving her whole entitled and total life. She has baggage for days, and you rent this car out to try to impress Anfisa. And she don't even have a place for her damn luggage. And so, here we know he has a black truck, and you could not like this guy George has been a fraud, in my opinion, from day A. Day A. From the time he reached out to her on the internet, he has been a fraud. Okay, so we move on because I'm going to build my case as to why I'm Team Anfisa and why you need to be Team Anfisa too. I see a lot of people say negative things about Anfisa and says that Anfisa is a gold digger. And there's a lot of negative things that are said about women who want to marry men who have money. And I just don't understand why, as women, we have to marry a broke back mountain man like David. See, at the end of the day, you have to live your own life because you got a woman named Annie who has married a broke back mountain man like David, who's busted, disgusted, can't be trusted, and doesn't even have enough money to pay his own damn dowry, has walked away from his children for 4 years to live in Thailand to hoe around allegedly and do all of that kind of stuff. And then they get criticized for that. Annie gets criticized for that. But at the same time, you got Anfisa who marries a man allegedly for money and for to be comfortable, to live the life that she dreams to live, and you get criticized for that. So at this point, with some of the viewers, it's damn if you do and damn if you don't. We have to sometimes take a step back and look at things and make a decision about what side of the fence we want to be on. Is it better to marry someone who's poor and broke back and doesn't have anything and complains every time you want something, wants to rob their son in order, rob Jacob to pay Chris? Or is it better to have somebody like George who lied about everything? So we see, the demise of George. Again, I'm going to go back. Again, they go and get an apartment. She finds out that the damn apartment that he has is in his friend's name. He doesn't even have the credit. Okay. He doesn't even have the credit to get his own apartment. But you sit up there talking about this is your dream girl. The dream girl you see online with her ass hanging out allegedly, with the Gucci, the Fendi, and the Louis Vuitton. Okay, the Louis Vuitton, because I know somebody will correct me on that. He doesn't even have the money, but you're going to bring her over here on false pretense and you can't even get your own the damn apartment. Remember when they first came over here, their asses was living in a hotel until he can get one of his friends, probably Ramon, to go and sign for him to get a damn apartment. But Anfisa's the gold digger? Then what do we call George? The booty digger? So anyway, I had to calm down. So then he says that, Anfisa decides, you know what, I want to be rich and I want to be famous. And George is not able to do the things that he promised that he would do. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to get a modeling career. George sits down by his own admission on screen in front of the TLC producers, the cameramen, and everybody else that's involved and says, I don't want Anfisa to work. I don't want her to be an independent woman. And I do not want other men looking at her body. Why? Because you think you paid for it, you broke ass bitch. You haven't paid for it yet. Now, we were talking about a dowry. If Anfisa came from a country that had a dowry, has George paid the dowry? Isn't he still in the same position as David? And see, I'm going to use the two of them, to compare for you so that you can get why I, again, am team Anfisa. George, number one, didn't pay the family a dowry. And then he gets Anfisa over here, and he's just as bad as David because he can't even keep up with his end of the bargain. So, Anfisa is tired of him. He's lying and being found to be lying. He's sneaking around. She busted two cell phones up. She writes idiot on his car and puts that ass out. He's a wimpy, just a wimpy, weak individual. That's exactly what he is. And he thinks it's funny. He comes back to the producers and he's laughing and giggling. And he's talking about Anfisa is difficult. She has her own mind. She's stubborn. And I like that. It gets him off. So we sit back and we watch this go on. And I'm thinking about myself because I tend to put myself in other people's shoes, except for Nicole's, because some bitches is too big for me. Okay. They would swallow me up and have me tripping and falling all over the place because Auntie don't wear a size gazillion shoe. Okay. So I put myself in Anfisa's shoes. I leave my family. I leave my home. I leave everything that I know because this man has advertised himself as being wealthy and able to take care of me, at least until I can get my green card and get on my feet. Every woman desires to have a man to take care of her because, after all, isn't that the American way? Now we have changed and women have come into the independence. And if you want to be independent and do your own thing, you be independent and do your own thing. If you want to buy your own stuff and you don't want a man to own you or have strings attached to things that he does for you, then you know what? Go Dutch every time you go out. And frankly, that ain't auntie style. Because you know what? I'm worthy of being spoiled. I'm worthy of having nice things. I'm worthy of being pampered. I know who I am. I'm able to do it by myself and for myself. But if I'm going out with a man and I want the bitch to do it for me, then bitch do it for me. That doesn't mean that I'm a gold digger because I dig my own gold. Matter of fact, I got my own mines in which I can go in and dig my own gold. But bitch, if you put yourself out there and say that this is what you want to do and this is what you're going to do, then you know what? By all means, I am going to hold you accountable. See, there's a such thing as integrity, and George lacks integrity because on every turn, George has told a lie. So, anyway, did I finish with the apartment? I think I did. Now they go out and they're basically looking at wedding dresses. Oh, wait a minute. So he doesn't want her to be a model. He doesn't want her to have independence. He wants her to be a kept woman. Well, guess what? It takes dineros, it takes money, it takes moolah to be a kept woman because somebody got to pay the bills. So we see in one of the episodes, George takes her out to a 5-bedroom mansion with a swimming pool and all kinds of stuff going on in the house. Why would he sell her this fantasy when he knows that he's not even credit worthy enough to get a damn apartment? You're not producing the marijuana that you need to. And allegedly, you didn't spend some time behind bars. Is the gold digger? Okay, if you're still not convinced, they go to get a wedding ring. Because after all, this is a K-1 visa. I only have 90 days to marry you. They sit down at the table. She tells him flat out, I want a ring that's 3 carats. They look at the ring and everything, and Anfisa is trying on the different rings, and The lady's like, would you like to try a 5 carat? Let's just try a 5 carat. His dumb ass is sitting there instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to go to the store independently and I'm going to pick her up a ring from the pawn shop. It may not be the ring of her desire, but it's a ring that I can afford. I'm going to go out on my own initiative and I'm going to do this. No, but he sits her in front of a jeweler and sells her dreams. The lady said, well, we can do the ring for $150,000. We can bring that 5 carat down to that. And he says, I can't afford that. And the thing about it is, he's such a jerk, in my opinion, because he sits there like, yeah, that's a little too high. I can't afford that. He asked Anfisa flat out, did you marry me for the money? Did you come over here for the money? And she says, yeah. So George had every opportunity to walk away from Anfisa. Anfisa did not play around with George. She didn't mince her words. She told him exactly why she was here. And if there's anybody in the whole entire franchise who has been absolutely honest, 100% honest about their game, it's been Anfisa. Everybody else has played the game. Everybody else has had false pretense, stuff that they hiding in the background. But Anfisa hasn't. From day one, she's been consistent about what it is that she wanted and she expected from him. George had 90 days to make a decision about Anfisa. Anfisa broke his phones. She went off in the lawyer's office. She acted a complete ass when he talked about doing a prenup. You don't get a pot to piss it in a window to throw it out of. What are we prenupping? Tell me, what the hell are we prenupping? Business cards? He made it appear that he had all of this stuff. He tried to use the law and the legal system and her not getting the K1 visa and her green card to control her. He lied on every turn. And yet and still, people still call Anfisa the gold digger. I'm not buying it. Because George ain't buying it. So she goes and looks at a wedding dress. That's too high for his ass. She expects to live in the lap of luxury. She hasn't hidden that from George. And George, by his own admission, likes it. This is his dream girl, remember? This is the girl he always wanted to be with. But when you see a high maintenance bitch, that you have to make sure that you have the money to take care of her. Don't, men and women, don't date people on false pretense and then expect to call them all kinds of names and tear their name down in the mud when they're trying to hold you accountable for the lies and the things that you promised to them. It's not fair. It's not fair for some man to sit out here on the YT and look at Auntie and have an expectation that he can come into my life. Okay, because I ain't gonna make this about me, but I'm just gonna use it as an example. It would not be fair for a man to come into my life. If he's been on the YT, he's seen me, he's attracted to me, and then expect to lowball me. I don't like why would I be interested in somebody that has less than me? Then no, I'm not a gold digger. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not the type of woman who's an opportunist. Because really, at the end of the day, George was the opportunist. He saw an opportunity for him to manipulate some Russian girl, bring her over here, promise her, diamond rings and a luxurious life, and then pull the rug from up underneath her ass. Why would you even expect to be treated with love and respect when you can't even honor your word? A man's name, a man's character is his word and his ability to keep it. And that is why I am team Anfisa. Because Anfisa from the from the giddy up, once she got that green card, she sought after those things that she wanted. and she wanted him on her own terms. Here it is, she's trying to stand up with the man and trying to be behind this jelly backed ass man who talks about her like a dog to his family, doesn't respect her, laughs in her face, continues to lie, doesn't do the things that he's supposed to do. And he sits up on a reunion show and call her all kinds of hoes. But then he want her back because he's lonely. But you done tore down to your family. So guess who's lonely? Anfisa. She doesn't have anybody. I had someone write in my comments last night, this morning, or whatever it was, to say that Anfisa was fake crying. How do you fake cry? When you have been deceived from the day that you got your ass over here. I think sometimes we got to put ourselves in other people's bras. We got to put ourselves in other people's shoes. How the hell would you feel? This girl doesn't have any family, nobody. She's by herself. You know what I'm saying? She's getting plastic surgery. So, a lot of women going to be jealous of her. She's got it going on in so many ways. And then, she sit up there, in the psychiatrist's office, in there with the counselor. She sits in there with the counselor where she can be vulnerable and talk about her issues with a psychiatrist or a counselor. And then she starts crying, and then she's criticized, and people say her ass was fake crying. How? How? Isn't it during counseling sessions that you let your guard down and you get to be? I would be in fear too. This man has promised me everything. He said that he was going to do this and he was going to do that. And now the doctor going to sit here and ask me about a child? And I'm not going to feel emotional? And this man has sat up there and made a joke out of everything. He didn't even take the counseling session seriously. See, there's a lot of things that we see and a lot of things that we don't see. Unfortunately, we have to learn how to fill in the blanks. And if that were me in her shoes and Fisa's shoes, I would be crying my ass off too. Every time y'all saw me, I would be crying like that. I hate George. That's where I would be. Because it's very unfortunate the things that this woman has had to go through with this man. And I went back and I looked at episode after episode, reel after reel, tape after tape. And George really did Anfisa wrong, in my humbled opinion. That's just my opinion. And that's why I say that I am Team Anfisa, because I can't even imagine being with somebody like George, who has lost everything and didn't have anything from the start. Now, I know that some of you all may disagree, and we all have a right to our opinions, but this is just Auntie's opinion on this. Oh, yes, it is. It's Auntie's opinion on this. So, guess what? This is the end of this. I want to keep these marathons down to 30 minutes. If you give me 5 more minutes, I'll be right back, and we're going to be doing our next marathon video on Azan's conspiracy theory. There are a lot of people who believe that Azan faked the visa, and we're going to talk about it here on this channel in about 5 minutes. Love you all, and thank you so much for being here.